I'm looking at this meter tester thing again. This might be a third video or it might just be the second video. I did a little more work and I figured out a little bit more on this thing. I cut some of the wire loom and I'm probably just gonna end up turning this out anyway, so I'm not too worried about that anymore. So we have the input what leads here, terminals rather. Resistor to a voltmeter. This goes out. This wire goes to the switch here. This switch has all kinds of leads that goes down to this transformer. We have an amp meter here that has two wires here. One goes to the switch. Actually, no, wrong wire. They both go over here. And the one goes to, looks like the second switch from the end. There. Actually, it goes up there to this wire. That's in the middle of the second switch from the end. And the other amp meter wire goes around to this terminal here that's wiggling. And these two switches are the voltage and the FLLO, which probably relates to these two terminals. And then we have and just noticed this voltage switch we just saw. We have an input coming to two wires from the input that go into this switch, and then if it's in 120, it should then connect down these two groups. So you'd have a plus, a hot and a neutral going into these down here. And then there's one wire that comes off here. This goes down to the transformer. And then there's another black wire. That's not the right wire. There's another wire here that goes up to the other terminal. So I think this is like a booster winding for if you're running 120 volt, it boosts it's adding like a secondary winding in this transformer. And then we saw the resistor group on the back there. It's not really a resistor, it's more like a nichrome wire in a grid. And then all those wires go up here to these various load switches. And then one of the main wire here, this yellow one on those switches, that hooks into this second from the end switch. Actually, no, that's not even the second switch. This is all one unit. This is I've never seen this before. It's a double pole, triple pole, double throw switch. So these are all on this end switch here, which is the FLLL switch. And that connects into that terminal. This one connects into this terminal. And then it looks like those engage or disengage these various parts. This one goes to the resistor array, to those switches. And that would tie in this wire here, which goes over to the amp meter. And the amp meter is connected to the other side of this switch, which you probably pull in the other terminal. And then we got a transformer up here that's hooked to the outer two terminals. And the other two wires are connected down. One of those connects to the center terminal on that switch, actually, for the LL. It looks like the other one black wire goes to this end switch here. This end switch is 50 or 100%. And What else do we have? And it looks like if you activate that in switch, that then throws this variable inductor into the loop. So when you turn this knob, it pulls apart the ferrite core there and adjusts how much induction would happen. And the other side of the inductor goes down and splices into this inductor, which is also spliced into this inductor. And those both go out and get spliced into these other two switches, which is the 2.5 and 5% switches. Ceramic potentiometer here. One, that wire goes out to the resistor network. The other one goes up to this other switch here. That's the 5% switch, which then hooks into these yellow wires and to this last switch, which is the 50 or 100% switch. So I can't quite tell what this whole thing does, but it looks like it's like a multimeter. It's showing various resistors in array into and out of the system, or adjusting how much load you're putting onto the system, either by changing the resistance with the switches, changing the resistance in the back there. This is probably like a trimmer to calibrate it, or you can vary the inductance probably for the which is hooked to the higher value loads, the 2 and the 5%. So I'm guessing that this varies the inductance. So they'd use an induction instead of resistance to put a load on that. And I think these are just two, like a base load, and then the resistors calibrate up or down, calibrate by adding more or less into these. That's about all I can really tell from this thing. And I believe these would be the input. I can't really understand what FLLL and plus minus mean, because this looks like a DC thing, not AC, because AC doesn't have a plus or a minus. So that doesn't quite make sense. I assume FLL means something controlled by the switch, so if you wanted this terminal, you'd push it up. If you wanted this terminal, you'd push it down. In the middle, it might not do anything. But that's about all I can figure out with this thing. So I'm thinking it might just become parts, or maybe you can use it for dummy load somehow.